Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Katie and we are on the second episode of Witchy Things to Draw. Today's two prompts are a mortar and pestle and a potion jar. That sounds like an awesome combination to me. Very much like I did last week, I sketched out a few ideas inside the actual physical book. I just designed different shaped potion jars, potion bottles, as well as just drawing a mortar and pestle and trying to figure out what kind of composition I'm going to go for. I toyed with the idea of having a potion bottle pouring into a mortar and pestle. I also played about with the composition and having a line of potion bottles next to the mortar and pestle. But I kind of went with a combination of the two and having the bottle and the mortar and pestle next to each other with some lovely Art Nouveau swirly bits next to it. Now with this little series I'm doing here, I am going to do my best to make sure I use a different medium each time. I can't guarantee I'm not going to be able to, and sometimes the medium needs to suit the drawing. However, this one was quite an open one and I decided to go for alcohol markers, as well as a little bit of white paint and some Posca pens as well. I'd pre-sketched this out onto some of the Canson The Wall paper, which is specially designed for alcohol markers. I really like this paper a lot. It's got a nice thickness to it like a regular paper would have, but it's very, very marker pen friendly. And it does not bleed through at all, and I punish this paper quite a lot, as I'm sure you'll know. I went over the pencil lines using a Sakura Micron in orange, and this is because I didn't want to go in there with a harsh black pen. I just wanted the lines to be quite soft just at this stage. And now it's time for those beautiful, delicious marker pens. I'll be honest with you, there's a variety of brands here. I just picked the cheapest ones I can find. You have some by Ahoohoo, some really cheap ones from Wish. There's a few from the UK store The Works, maybe a pro marker or two appear in this, as well as the ones I got in an up crate quite a while ago now, and they're still going strong. I layer these colours up first, and I've gone for a pink and purple colour scheme, and I'm going to incorporate a nice glowy orange into that as well, coming from where the mortar and pestle is. I've been quite loose with the application of the pen here, because if you've seen my videos before, you'll have a rough idea as to what I'm going to do next. They don't particularly need to be neat at this point, because I'm going to throw on there some isopropyl alcohol. I just dab it on with a brush, and as you can see, it pushes all of those pigments away from where the alcohol's added. This also creates a nice watercolour effect and blends out those colours as well by creating a different pattern. I go over this a couple of times just to really make sure that those lines that I'd drawn in, or the obvious lines that I'd drawn in rather, are completely and utterly dissolved and you have this lovely background. I also do the same with the bottle, and I add a yellow and purple in there just to reflect what's going on around the outside of it. I absolutely love doing this. I like working with marker pens, and I really like the flat layout of them. I think that's so nice and effective, and I like how you can blend with them too. However, sometimes I want some texture in there, so that's usually why I throw a lot of alcohol over the top of it, just to give it a bit more depth and texture and just make the image overall more interesting to look at. And as well, it's quite a fun process to do. It's quite cathartic watching all of those colours moving around and being slightly unpredictable too. As vibrant as watercolours can be, I do think there is just something a little bit extra about using alcohol markers, or maybe it's just the colour schemes that I have in at the moment. I tend to find that they are incredibly saturated in colour, and again I suppose that is down to my colour choices over the years and what I've collected, and you do tend to find you have these very rich pigments, especially within the cheaper marker pens. I do keep meaning to get pastel ones, but I don't know, I get drawn in by these bold colours and I can't help it. I mean, I just love it. To add the border, I used a Posca pen. For two reasons really. Number one, I quite like the colours that I got in. This wine colour just really matched the mood of the picture and the existing colours on there. And secondly, it covers a multitude of sins where that alcohol just went a little bit too unpredictable, and that's okay to cover up mistakes, and you learn new techniques as you go along when you do it. I used some Daler Rowney Professional White paint ink. It's basically what you use for going over mistakes, and I used that to outline the bottle. I did find that even though this paper is pretty invincible to alcohol markers and even spray paint, it still succumbs to the slight shredding you get with a Posca pen, which surprised me actually. I've not noticed it happen before, but maybe I just went a bit too full on this time. Applying this white ink on with a brush was just a little bit more gentle, especially because I wanted to maintain the nice smooth texture of that glass bottle. I added a few gorgeous stars in there because it's been a while and it just seemed quite fitting as well for this picture. Because it was close to areas where I had used the Posca pen, I decided to use a white Posca pen on this, and even when it decided to spill its guts over one of the stars, I didn't see that as a disaster and I just got a paintbrush and scooped it out. It could have been a whole lot worse. I think with the addition of the stars, again, it just gives the eye something to focus on and move around on the picture while you're looking at it. And to bring out a little bit extra definition, I add a black outline to the border and to the items on the page. And this is because I was kind of in danger of losing that border that I'd drawn in, so I decided to add a little bit of white highlighting on there as well. Funnily enough though, I did go back to the paint to do that with. I thought I was on thin ice, I guess, with the paper shredding there, and I just didn't want to make it any worse. You can't actually tell to look at it, but I'm sure if you've used Poscas on any paper where it's chewed, you know it's there. It doesn't matter how flat it looks, you know it's there. It's time to colour in. Is it the mortar or the pestle? Answers down below, please. But anyway, the bit you hold in your hand needed some colour, so I went back in there with some marker pens and just gave it the lightest of wash of alcohol just to blend that in. I'm actually really happy with the combined prompts today. I thought for a while what to draw and how the composition would be, and I did have a little bit of a further sketch in another book just to practice it a little bit. But in the end, I am really happy with how this turned out and how well these two items paired together. I added some little twinkly stars above the mortar and pestle just to make it a little bit more magic. And also it adds to that luminosity that I spent a while creating in the background there too. And after all of that, we are done. This was a really fun set of prompts to do, and I am really enjoying working from this book. I would just like to say a massive thank you to you lovely lot for watching, and I do hope you've enjoyed it. There should be some more videos on the screen right now that I think you're going to enjoy, so why not click on them? In the meantime, I'll see you on the next video. Bye!